to the Mailbox for the 28th of October 2011. My name is Totalbiscuit, bringing you your daily dose of community interaction, gaming discussion, and all that good stuff. You can email in mailbox@cynicalbrit.com. That is mailbox@cynicalbrit.com with topics for future shows. Again, in the background is Renegade Ops once again. Nice, fun game to play in the background. Nothing too complicated. Lots of explosions and antlions, everyone loves it. First email comes in from Jack that says, one of the biggest issues to me in Battlefield 3 gameplay is the fact that the unlockable gadgets make so big a difference in vehicle versus vehicle situations. Don't get me wrong, I personally enjoy unlocking gadgets and all that kind of stuff, but when it comes to vehicles, it seems so absurd that certain things are not unlocked when you start the game. For example, a combat helicopter. When you take off for the first time with a combat helicopter, you basically have very few ways to defend yourself against seeker missiles because you don't have flares unlocked, which to me seems like a necessity for any kind of helicopter in Battlefield games. This means that you either get blown up by an enemy jet that has unlocked the seeker missiles in a matter of seconds, or you must hide behind cover and try to gain enough experience until you've unlocked the flares. As another example, I can mention the jets, and as you noticed in your BF3 jet video, you as a pilot may feel rather unuseful to the team without the unlockables because you just have the minigun available. Not only does it make you a lot weaker in the actual battle, it automatically gives the players with unlockables a great advantage. Jet with nothing but minigun versus jet with seeker missiles unlocked. Both are equally good at flying, but needless to say, one wins in the end. My main concern is that this is very unfriendly to new players. At the moment, it may be easy to gain the first unlockables, which make you a lot more useful in fights, but how about a month or so later down the line, where there are basically no players with 0 vehicle gadget unlockables? In weapons, the unlockables aren't really that big an issue, because even the starter weapons are very good, but in vehicles, the unlockables make so much of a difference that that's something of a problem. Yes, actually, that's one of the biggest problems I currently have with BF3, in the fact that you don't get those to start with. That, to me, is just absurd. It really is. I'm not sure what DICE was really thinking in that regard. Flares seem so important. I mean, they are important. Anyone that's flown a jet or an attack helicopter will know exactly what I'm talking about. If you do not have flares, you die very fast, yeah? Because it is incredibly easy to lock onto somebody with either a stinger or a heat-seeking missile, and for God's sake, I mean, you can even get heat-seeking missiles in helicopters. So, in a helicopter versus helicopter duel, guess who's winning that fight? Now, 2 heat-seeker missiles will kill you. It's as simple as that. The decision not to put flares in there as a starting item for everyone is probably the most WTF thing about it. And you are right in that there is an imbalance there, because an unupgraded vehicle is simply worse than an upgraded vehicle. As opposed to some guy with an AK-74 and iron sights, he can be just as, if not more effective than some guy with his blinged out tactilol weapon or whatever. Because in reality, a lot of those upgrades are personal playstyle decisions. It is not a personal playstyle decision to fire faster or to be tougher versus another guy who isn't. That's the big issue. There are upgrades which make you fire faster that are available quite early. There are upgrades for the LAVs, for instance, where you get a ground-to-ground missile. That's a big deal. You know, a fight between a LAV that has one of those and an LAV that doesn't, yeah, well, that's pretty damn one-sided. It also causes problems in that a lot of new players will want to jump into those vehicles and actually harm the team because those vehicles are now significantly less effective. You get a jet in the air that doesn't have seeker missiles and doesn't have flares, then, you know, it's going to be way, way worse than it would be otherwise. And I think that this system has now taken the idea that in Battlefield a lot of people just get in a vehicle and then screw it up, especially in a flying vehicle, and taken it to a ludicrous extreme. And now not only can they screw up, but they can go in there with a disadvantage to begin with and waste a vehicle that would have been much, much more powerful in the hands of another person because of those unlockables. I think unlockables for vehicles are a poorly conceived idea. I think that, to be honest, they serve no place in a Battlefield game. As far as I'm concerned, the upgrades and things and the loadouts should be all available by default for everybody, and they can set whatever preference they so desire and then go in from there. They were not as ridiculous in Bad Company 2, but now there are 3 upgrade slots per vehicle, so you can stack up upgrades and get fairly absurd, and it takes an age to unlock them as well, and it doesn't even necessarily come down to your own individual skill. It often comes down to a matter of luck. Are you able to get in a plane to start unlocking things? Once you get up in the air, are you instantly destroyed before you're able to actually do anything? You know, how do you get those first couple of kills to give you the flares? That's something that should be considered. honestly, and I don't really know what DICE was doing there. I think DICE has actually just gone too far with unlockables. In fact, I think unlockables are just going to a ridiculous place right now. Like, everything must be an unlockable in some form or another. Please, no. Stop. Can we please have an FPS where the focus is to actually enjoy your game and not run on a virtual treadmill for merit badges? Because that's what this is becoming. This is what FPS has been doing in a really major way over the past few years, and it's been getting absolutely absurd. And I think actually BF3 is the most ridiculous in terms of its unlockables. It has beaten out Black Ops, Modern Warfare 2 in the sheer number of unlockables, the way they have to be acquired, and it makes me scratch my head because really you're seeing that there are large problems in a game whereby everything is based on this treadmill style of acquire unlockables, and when it comes down to vehicles, that's where the really big imbalance lies. It is not as ridiculous with infantry kits, although there are some things that I also scratch my head on. For instance, the fact that the defibrillator is not available until you unlock it with the assault class. And I was like, well, okay, I'm goddamn useless then. I have a med pack and really not an awful lot else, so the core part of my class I simply cannot do until I unlock that. That does make me scratch my head somewhat. The weapon unlocks, I'm fine with. That's okay. I don't really mind that. It's good to get variety and things that way. But yeah, vehicle unlocks, they gotta go. And honestly, I can tell you this for a fact, we now have a server for this game, and if there ever becomes an option in the server files to turn off vehicle unlocks and let everyone use everything, we damn well will do it, because it is getting to the point now of getting extremely frustrating, and it just ends up with the rich get richer. If you've got a guy that's managed to get really lucky and got into a lot of planes early on and got a lot of the unlocks, then he's probably just going to rule the skies anyway, and he's going to get even more unlocks faster, and nobody else is going to manage it. For jets, this is actually even worse, because when you are in a jet initially, until you get your rocket pods and things like that, you cannot really do anything to ground targets. So you must pick off air targets, either helicopters or other jets. Now, good luck doing that if the other pilot on your team is some super mega rank 35 to 40 guy with all the unlocks and is destroying those targets before you're even able to see them, because, hey, he's got radar and all sorts of other crazy stuff. And then, once again, you cannot get anywhere because that guy has just taken all of the viable targets. And what you're going to shoot? You're just going to fly around being useless and getting no points. So, yes, vehicle unlocks, very badly conceived in Battlefield 3, as far as I'm concerned. I see why they put them in there. I can see the attractiveness of the idea, but I think this is now one step too far in this whole unlockable, persistent character FPS thing, and I think now it needs to be dialed back, because this is just getting stupid. This email comes in from Human Hunter that said, you've mentioned in one of the previous mailboxes the idea of one bad player ruining the fun of the entire team, particularly in the case of MOBA games. I hate that I go into games that I'm not particularly good at and people kick me or end the match because I don't follow the current metagame or such, and rather try to play the game to have fun. In the lobbies, people will claim that their loss denied them the fun, all due to my bad playing. My question is this: are players in many games too fixated on their victory rather than enjoying themselves? And should people play games they can't enjoy unless they win? Now, to me, this does demonstrate something of a particularly selfish attitude. It's something that I saw an awful lot of in WoW as well, and I condemn there and I condemn it here. Your fun versus the fun of 4 others. Which is more valuable? That will be the fun of the 4 others. The needs of the many always outweigh the needs of the few. And honestly, it's a bit of a straw man argument going on here in that, oh, the least players can't enjoy games they don't win. No, that's actually not true. That is really not true. There are some people like that, but I would say the majority of people, myself included, will enjoy a really well-fought game. They will not enjoy a one-sided slugfest because one player on the team let the side down simply because they refuse to fit with the metagame or whatever. I mean, it's the same problem that we've got when we go into solo ranked. We start getting sorted out and, right, okay, so we got our first pick, pretty powerful first pick because, hey, that hero wasn't banned, so we'll grab that. Whatever that one was, okay, right, let's grab our jungler, let's grab our solo mid AP, and we're going to grab our AD bottom. Okay, cool, right, we've got our solo top. And what's the last pick going to be? Okay, we need you to go support. Your bottom ELO-wise, we appreciate it if you would go support. And you decided to pick Vega. All right, okay, that's actually our game lost now because Vega has no place whatsoever in the bottom lane and is stealing kills from the AD carry because Vega doesn't work unless you do that. And I have had that happen on more than one occasion. And the problem is that some people, I'm not saying that's you, but some people have this attitude that my fun is more important than everyone else's fun, and as a direct result, I'm going to play something that's cool and niche and not within the metagame. You want to know why having something like Vega in the bottom lane is not in the metagame? Because it's bad. Because it doesn't work. It is mathematically inferior to other setups. There is a reason why you take a support and an AD carry in the bottom. That is the metagame because that is the optimal way of playing, and that's the one that makes sense. If you have two people that are reliant on last hits, they will both be weaker by the end of the game, unless, of course, they've got a significant number of kills, which probably won't happen because League of Legends is a very passive game. Towers are too powerful, and hey, flash, lol. So that's just kind of how the game works in that regard, and that's why it's set up the way that it is. We've had people insist on going top lane with the solo top. It's like, no, the solo top is there for a good reason. You go solo top with Nasus, for instance, and start stealing his last hits, then Nasus is useless by the end of the game, as opposed to an absolute goddamn monster by the end of the game if he's properly farmed at the top. There are reasons why this exists. There are reasons why this metagame exists in a game of 15 million accounts. Because it works. And that is why you adhere to it. It is not as if it is stifling your choice down to one hero. So you must pick this one hero. No, there's always viable choices. There's loads of heroes in League of Legends. If you are told to pick an AD carry, there are a bunch of different choices you can go for. If you're told to pick support, there are a bunch of choices. Jungler, solo top, mid. All of these have choices. There are plenty you can go, and most people will not condemn you for doing that as long as you fit within the role. Even if your hero isn't perhaps as powerful. For instance, if we ask you to go Caitlyn bottom lane, and you decide that you want to take Urgot, well, alright, at least you've taken an AD carry of some sort. At least you've fit the role. I'm alright with that. If we ask you to go Soraka, and you take Karma, okay, fine. At least you've taken a support. As long as you play it right, not really a problem. That's the thing. You've got choices there. But it's when you decide to completely screw up the team composition just because, oh, well, I want to have fun. I want to play this hero. Well, if you want to play that hero, then go and play with your friends in a game where they will accept you playing that hero. Do not inflict that on random people. They don't deserve that. League of Legends drags on for a very long time. Why do you think that people get so angry with LoL? LoL drags on forever. I mean, for God's sake, good luck getting a surrender on 20 minutes. The average pub team will not surrender on 20 minutes no matter how badly things are going. Either because they believe they can turn it around, or because, well, we've got this far, and I've got these items, so I don't care if I win, I'm just going to keep trying to get kills and stuff. It's like, well, that's great. I am repeatedly dying or whatever, I'm playing support, and I can't do a damn thing because our team just can't win a team fight, and because, once again, of the strength of towers and the way that League of Legends works, the game can drag on for quite some time beyond that. That's a bit of a problem, and that doesn't really happen in other games. The only games where this happens are MOBA. They are MOBA type. HON, Dota, Dota 2, LoL. Those are the games where this can happen. This is why people get frustrated. This is why team compositions are quite specific in those games. That is why going certain heroes is a good idea. And that is why knowing these things is a good idea. It is not quite as extreme as, say, World of Warcraft, whereby if you go into a dungeon without a healer and you take 2 tanks, chances are you're not going to survive. But that is the closest example that I can think of. You have to play the role in the set composition, otherwise nobody gets anywhere. And it's not just about having fun. It's like, oh, it didn't matter if we lost, guys. We had fun, right? No, getting steamroll for 30 to 40 minutes is actually not that fun. A close fight is fun. There will not be a close fight unless the team is properly composed. Otherwise, it will be a whitewash, and games like League of Legends tend to snowball in that regard. If the other team has 20 kills and you have 2, then don't expect to go into some sudden amazing comeback. What is going to happen is those heavily farmed heroes in the other team are going to destroy you even more now, and you basically do not have a chance in hell. And that is why individual fun is not as important, and indeed it is vital to understand that you must play as a team in order for individual fun to even occur for the majority of your team. Alright folks, that's me done for the day. Thank you very much for watching the Mailbox. A reminder, the 500,000 subscriber WTF-a-thon airs live On Sunday, the 30th of October at 2 p.m. BST, that's 3 p.m. CEST, 9 a.m. EST, and 6 a.m. PST. That is over on twitch.tv/Totalbiscuit. So that is this Sunday, twitch.tv/Totalbiscuit, and archives will be made available for those who miss it. I'll see you next time.